Hello, Helen here. Thanks for joining me on my channel. Today's card's going to be a little bit different than I've been doing lately. I'm going to make a Shabby Chic card. I really enjoy making these, and me and my husband make Shabby Chic and vintage home decor products that we sell at fairs and things. So I usually make a few cards so that they can complement what we already sell. And so I thought I'd show you me making one today. I've recently bought this Joanna Sheen card making collection issue number 2, which has got a very lacy cameo sort of theme, and I'm going to use some of the papers out of it. Now the kit comes with a magazine that's got lots and lots and lots of ideas on how to use what comes in the kit. It also comes with a whole lot of really beautiful lacy papers, some cameos, some sentiments, flowers for doing decoupage, all sorts of bits and pieces in it. Just beautiful stuff. It also comes with a set of stamps. There's a butterfly, the cameo, it's got a very lovely lacy little corner stamp, and then also comes with an embossing folder that's just got really amazing detail to it. It's got a lovely stencil that's very lacy, and also an absolutely gorgeous border die, very lacy, and I'm going to use those with my card as well. The beauty with the Joanna Sheen border dies is that she doesn't have them cutting off at the edges, so that you can actually make a really long border. They can be continuous, so they're very useful, especially for people like me that make slightly bigger cards. Now when I make my Shabby Chic cards, I usually present them in a really nice box, just so they look a bit more special. So I make my own boxes, and I usually do a die cut in the top and have acetate at the back, which is a window, so you can see the card. And it's always got dimension, just because I usually put quite a few flowers on them. I'll show in the photos at the end how I've decorated that with another paper out of the kit. Now I've cut a card base that fits just inside the box, and I've also cut one of the plain papers to be just slightly smaller than that base card, and also cut a piece of the lace out and cut around the lace edge. I'm now going to distress it with the Tim Holtz distress tool, just because that's part of the Shabby Chic look, is just to have a bit roughed up edges. So I just go around all the edges apart from the lacy border. I've also done a couple of little tears in the base paper, just to also make it look a little bit more shabby. And then I've put craft foam on the back of the lace part. I'm just going to have that raised up slightly, and then the plain paper gets stuck down onto the card base with double-sided tape. Before I stick down that lace paper, I'm going to put the border just along the right hand edge of the card. Now I've trimmed it evenly top and bottom, just so that it fits on over the mauve paper at the bottom, and I'm sticking that down with some wet glue just to make sure that it sticks, and I've got a little bit of wriggle movement to get it into the right place, and then my lacy paper can get stuck over that, and that's the base ready to start decorating. Now I like to put all sorts of bits and pieces onto my Shabby Chic cards. This time I'm going to use a doily, a heart-shaped doily, but sometimes I use my moulded lacy pieces that I've shown in another video previously. I'll put a link to that on the top right hand corner if you're interested in seeing that. The butterfly is going to be made like that. I also usually put bows and flowers and sometimes some little cherubs and things as well, so I'll talk you through it as I go through the different components that I'm going to put on the card. For sticking down my components on these cards, I tend to use the hot glue gun. It's a lot more instant. You can take a long time if you're using glue, so it's just a lot quicker. If I use the hot glue gun, I'll glue down the doily, and then I'm making a bow with some white seam binding, just making 2 loops and then tying a knot in them. I'm using double ribbons so that I get 2 bows on either side, and once I'm happy and I've fluffed around with that a bit, I'll stick that at the top of the doily, and then I can start sticking flowers and leaves down. Sorry, you're only getting little peeks of the hot glue gun. My cord isn't very long on it, so I can't quite get it to come into screenshots, so I apologise for that. It's just slightly off camera. Now the flowers I use, I quite often make my own flowers, but for this card I'm going to use flowers that I've bought, mulberry paper flowers. A lot of them are from Wild Orchid or craft shops that I've bought, where they've bought those flowers and split them up into groups. So I'm going to use roses, lilies, magnolias. I think they're magnolias, or they might be gardenias, and then little sweetheart blossoms. And the leaves that I'm going to use, I've got a few dies, variety of dies that I use, and I just cut a whole lot out, and then I just use big ones and small ones, and just depends on how I want them to poke out underneath the flowers, so it's a little bit random. So I start off by using the 2 of my bigger flowers. One I'm sticking right over the knot of the bow, and then one tucked up underneath it, the darker purple one. And then from there I'll decide which my next 2 biggest ones are. I'm going to tuck them either side of those 2. So that I've got like a diamond shape of the 4. And from there I'm going to just use a little bit of or some of the leaves to drape down below that grouping, and then I'll put a couple of roses to look like rosebuds drooping from there, and then cover the stems with a few other leaves. For my leaves, just to give them a little bit more realism, I usually put my thumbnail into each leaf and bend one side of the petal up just to give it a little bit of dimension. It makes the card look a lot better and less flat looking. And then I'll just tuck in some other roses and little sweetheart blossoms around the arrangement, just to sort of fill in and tuck some leaves underneath. I have a bag of little tags and die cuts that I've stamped sentiments on already, and they're just ready to go for grabbing one for doing these sorts of cards. I've also got a box of various different resin and paper clay frames and cherubs and roses and all sorts of bits and pieces that I've made previously, and I'm just going to go through that and decide I want to put a little cherub on or a little angel, and I'm just trying to decide which size and shape looks best on the card. And then I'm also going to add the moulded butterfly that I've done on a previous video, also on the card there. To decorate the sentiment die cut, I've got a packet of these little blingy dots that I bought from a $2 store, and it's got a range of colours, so I'm just going to pick out a couple of mauve ones and put them on each of the it's got little holes on each end of the die cut, so I'll just cover those with the little blingy dots just to give a little bit of sparkle. So that's the card finished. Here's some photos of the finished product and the decorated box that I'm going to put it in. At the end of the video, I have another couple of videos you might be interested in seeing, my latest and another one similar to this. You can click on the image of me to subscribe if you haven't already. Please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now.